It's sad that I have to do this for every video now, but you know the drill. YouTube's been unsubscribing active users, so if you have been unsubscribed and you like the content that I post, it would help if you resubscribed. Also, if you just in general enjoy what I do here, please consider subscribing. If you don't like what I do here, then just don't engage. Even disliking the video, talking about it on Reddit, Twitter, wherever, commenting something nasty helps with the engagement and gives me more money, which makes me want to make more videos, so you're working against yourself. Thank you. Okay, so after my last video about what if there had been a winners and a losers circle for every season of Drag Race, I thought, why don't we do this for All-Star seasons as well? Obviously, we can't do the winners, losers thing here, as that's not something that happened during the All-Star seasons. However, we were introduced to something lip-sync heavy too, the game within a game thing. I would look up how the whole thing is called, but I don't really care. No, I mean, I actually do have time to look it up, it's just that my time is valuable. So, you know how this works. We're just going to guess based on how we know the queens performed on the show. There's really no point in you commenting something like,
well, some of you have not seen Sasha perform without reveals 10 years ago and it shows.
Yeah, we didn't. We have lives, and also it's impossible to consume every single Drag Race related media. Yes, winning a lip sync factors in many a thing, but sometimes the winner is going to be obvious, sometimes I will give my reasoning behind the decisions I make, and sometimes the wins will be for storyline reasons. We do encounter a small problem here. Since the game within a game thing determines which queen returns to the competition, every single All-Star season's returning queens episode now does not exist. And so, for the sake of continuity, only the queens that were eliminated prior to that episode are eligible to compete. Some changes will have to be made so that the season has the same amount of episodes, but I will mention them all in due time. Let's begin with Season 1 of All Stars, of course. This season did not have a Returning Queens episode, so we're going to go off of Season 6's whole premise and have the returning episode happen one episode before the penultimate challenge. So for Season 1, that would be the 4th episode. However, since that still is a competitive episode, let's make it so that for Season 1, these lip syncs happen at the end of each episode, so that the first lip sync is shown to us after Episode 2. I know that doesn't coincide with Season 6's format, where the queens had a week to prepare after being eliminated, well, except for Eureka, of course, at the end, but here, structurally, it wouldn't work, as we have only 6 episodes and 6 teams to work with. So thus, at the end of the 2nd episode of this season, recently eliminated Team Brown Flowers would have to go up against the first eliminated Team Mandora. Now, only one queen per team can lip sync, so how do we choose who does it? Well, my logic is, let's make the queen that lip syncs be the one that did not lip sync when the team was eliminated. And if they advance, the other queen would lip sync next week, or the week after. You'll see what I mean. So for Team Mandora, Pandora would lip sync, and for Team Brown Flowers, it would be Nina. Pandora was really defeated on this season. She was not her Season 2 self, but then again, how could she be? And given that Nina Flowers is a really good performer, I'm giving this to Nina. Thus, Team Brown Flowers advances. In episode 3, they have to go up against Team Latrila. As Manila lost the lip sync when they were eliminated, this time Latrice goes up against Tammie. Now, I did not plan on this happening, but I like how we have a possible do-over of their lip sync from an episode ago. And so we have a story and we are invested in the outcome of the lip sync. However, I believe that the outcome would have been the same as originally. And lastly, after getting eliminated in episode 4, Team Yarlexis have to regroup in order to lip sync against Team Latrila. This time, Manila represents her team, while I believe Alexis would not allow Yara to go lip sync and mess it up again for them. So we have a battle of the two runner-ups from Season 3, which, again, interesting, there's a story there. They're both great performers, but solely because Latrice is in Manila's team, and we know how much Ru loves Latrice, and knowing that Manila and Alexis would probably be evenly matched, I think the episode would show us a more favorable edit of Manila's performance in order to have Team Latrila back in the competition. Thus, episode 5 now has 3 teams again: Team Rujubee, Team Latrila, and Team Shad. Just for fun, let's guess how the rest of the season would be. So, the 5th episode's challenge had that whole superheroes thing. It was a design, writing challenge and all, and hear me out. Given that Manila is there and that she's great at designing stuff, I think she would be able to carry her team to the victory. So in my head, that episode would be won by Manila and Latrice, with Team Rujubee and Team Shad in the bottom 2. They did win the mini challenge here, but I don't think that they would be able to survive the bottom 2 lip sync. So I think this is when Team Rujubee would get the boot. And with that, we still have a top 4 episode, in the finale of course, like originally, and with that, looking at their track records, I think the fight for the crown will be between Manila and Chad. But I still think Chad would have won. Now, this would not make Manila the new Raven, because Raven lost every time fair and square, but Manila would then, even before her stint on All Stars 4, become the Cerie Fields of Drag Race. Season 2, unlike Season 1, did have a Returning Queens episode, and thus we know that this whole game within a game thing would occur in the 5th episode of the season. Firstly, Coco would lip-sync against Tatianna, and as much as I love Tatianna, and as much as she did improve between Season 2 and All Stars 2, she's going up against Coco. I have to give the win to Coco here. Next, Coco would go up against Ginger, and I think the outcome would have been the same, with Coco advancing further. Lastly, Coco would go up against Alyssa. This is what we should have seen on All Stars 2, a redo of their lip-sync battle from Season 5. Just due to storyline, knowing that in the main competition, Jaremi had that whole thing about Alyssa, which they were totally correct about, by the way, I'm giving the win here to Alyssa. Plus, it's kind of poetic that after everything that they've been through, Coco and Alyssa are now equals, and that they have fully buried the hatch. Much like on All Stars 1, we only had 3 lip syncs here, but unlike All Stars 1, in this scenario, an entire episode is dedicated to just 3 lip syncs. So what do we do? How do we fill the time? Well, back then, an episode lasted for about 40 minutes. Let's say that the cold open is the same. All 4 eliminated queens do that surprise thing in the mirror, we get a confrontation between Alyssa and Jaremi, and then the remaining queens are told about the twist. With 9 of them there, we watch the first lip sync, after which Tatianna leaves the workroom. After the second lip sync, Ginger leaves the workroom, and then they all go back to the main stage to watch Alyssa and Coco lip sync, which is where Alyssa is brought back. And thus, episode 6 has Alaska, Alyssa, Detox, Katya, Jaremi, and Roxy. We don't know how Jaremi would have done in this products challenge thing, but essentially this was a comedy challenge. Now, we've seen them do comedy twice. In episode 2, in Snatch Game as the Long Island medium, and later in the acting skit. But let's focus mostly on the former. Jaremi's comedy wasn't really haha funny there. It was more like, oh, this is making fun of the people that believe this whole medium stuff funny. And then in their stand-up with Coco, they bombed. So I'm guessing bottom 2 and then eliminated by Alaska. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they swapped Katya or Alaska with Alyssa in that top 2 so that then Alyssa could eliminate Jaremi, but hey ho. The rest of the season is, of course, the same as originally. Alright, Season 3. With Season 2, we had a bit of luck with Adore leaving the show, because if she hadn't, we'd have to find a way to eliminate one extra queen during that Returning Queens episode. But now, we don't have the same situation. However, I do have a solution. This will all happen during the 6th episode. So, Aja's eliminated in episode 5, the rest of the queens go back to their hotels, and then the next filming day, they are back and are told about the whole twist. That during the season, the eliminated queens were lip-syncing against one another to get back into the competition. So our top 5, consisting of BB, Ben de la Creme, Kennedy, Shangela, and Trixie, out of drag, watched the lip-syncs. The first one is between Morgan McMichaels and Thorgy Tor. Now, I always have to say this. You know I love Thorgy, but I think Morgan would eat her up in that lip-sync. I also think that she would beat Milk in the second lip-sync. However, next, Morgan would have to go up against Chi-Chi. Now, was Chi-Chi defeated on All-Stars 3? Yes. Did she just kind of want to be eliminated by the end of her stint on the season? Yeah, but I don't think that she would Akira herself out of the competition to get back in. Thus, I think Chi-Chi beats Morgan here. Now, does Chi-Chi beat Aja in this last lip sync? Well, we don't know, nor does our top 5. They are told to get in drag, get ready to perform, and to come to the main stage. There, all 5 of them are on the part of the stage that's closer to the judges. We get the reveal of the winner between Aja and Chi-Chi here, with the whole lifting of the canvas curtain thing. I don't know, what would we even call that? But behind that stands Aja. They're all like, yay, Aja's back, yay, but Aja's ready to murder someone. Like, you can see it on her face. Ru tells the queens that Aja has fought her way to get back into the competition, but that she's not back in yet. She will replace one of the top 5 queens if she can beat a queen of her choosing in a lip sync. Aja reveals the lipstick that she picked, and of course, it's BB's lipstick. Is Aja a better performer than BB? Yes, absolutely. Does Ru like Aja? From what we have seen, no. Does Ru like BB? Yeah, a little too much even. Would Ru do anything to keep BB safe? So what's the outcome of this lip sync? Fairness and all, Aja would do better, but that does not mean anything on Drag Race. So if BB wins, the top 5 goes into the acting challenge, where Ben probably does the best, is probably overcome with the pressure of having to eliminate her colleagues, and takes herself out, just like originally, giving us the same outcome in the season. However, if Aja does replace BB, the timeline becomes too muddy and weird, so I'm just going to leave the season as is on this. Season 4 thankfully will not be even remotely as complicated as the previous 3. In episode 7, after the non-elimination in episode 6 to save Valentina, we'd get to watch the lip syncs. Obviously, we again have the problem with the time and the fact that we would only get 3 lip syncs. But let's say that there is a similar thing here like with season 3. So episode 6 ends, the eliminated 4 do not return there at the end of that episode, but they return at the beginning of episode 7 when the top 6 are back in the workroom for the next day of filming. They are greeted by Jasmine, Farrah, Gina Gum, and Latrice in their funeral looks. And that's when they're told about the game within a game thing, and they watch the lip syncs. First, Jasmine is up against Farrah. I think Farrah wins this one, even though her confidence was shaken up a bit back then. Next week, Farrah got to lip sync against Gia, and okay, yes, fun! This would have been great to watch. 2 girls that had beef fighting each other in a lip sync. Hello? Great. Anyways, this win I think would go to Gia. Lastly, they all go back to the main stage to watch Gia lip sync against Latrice. Now, we still need to fill in some more time. So let's say that after Jasmine and Farrah are officially off the show, before they leave, they're allowed to do a little roast of the girls. Before their lip sync, Ru asks Gia and Latrice to also present what they would have done for the roast. Again, just to fill the time. And then they go to change, and then they lip sync. And I think we all know Latrice would be brought back. The rest of the season would have been the same. And lastly, Season 5. Since this season did not have a Returning Queens episode, again, we have to borrow from All-Star 6 and say that it happens before the original perceived finale. In this scenario, we cannot evade adding at least one more episode onto the season. But because the finale had a top 3, the season would need to have 2 more episodes. The first of the 2 would showcase the lip syncs to get back into the competition, with Cracker, Jujubee, and Shea watching them to see who would join them. The first lip sync we all watch is between Derek and Ongina. Now, Ongina is a good performer, but on All Stars 5 she really was not in full competition mode, so I think it's very fair to say that Derek would beat her and advance. Next, Derek would go up against the Gabby Hanna of drag, because of her poetry writing skills and nothing else, Mariah, and of course Derek would beat her. The first true challenge where Derek would come in the next lip sync against Mayhem Miller. Now, honestly, I think this could go either way, but for the sake of storyline, because I think you all know what's coming after this, I'm giving the win to Derek. Derek would then have to go up against the queen that eliminated her, India Farrah. Now, This would be one hell of a lip sync, with both queens giving everything they've got to outperform the other. However, and again, for the sake of the story, Derek needs to beat India here. I know Drag Race doesn't care much about Derek, but in this house, we like Derek and want to see her overcome the villain of the season. In the next lip sync, Derek would have to go up against Alexis, and I think this is where Derek's time on the season will be over. And that's right, Alexis would advance to the final lip sync of the episode, where she would have to lip sync against Blair St. Clair. Oh, I wonder who would win here. It's just such a mystery, you guys. So then, in the next episode, this would be episode 9, Alexis would be reintroduced into the competition, there would be another challenge in that episode, and unless Alexis wins it, she would probably go home. But either way, Shea would be crowned this season. So, all in all, in all of these seasons, except for All Stars 3, the ending and the crown queen would end up being almost exactly the same. And that's it. That's the video. You know, I love it when I do these what if videos and they end up having the same result as the original thing. Now that's of course slightly because we're basing it off this one reality we all know, and so the outcomes are influenced by that, so that's to be expected. Do you want this format to be back in any future All-Star season? Sound off in the comments, and thank you for watching.